Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorraine County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning, everyone. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good morning, everyone. This is the Board of Commissioners meeting for October 16th, 2019. Our inspirational word for the day comes from Corinthians. There are different kinds of spiritual gifts, different ways of serving, and different abilities to perform service. And we have our dog.
Do you have the mic? All right.
Good morning. Today we have about a 6-month-old Dalmatian pup. He's in kennel number 32, available on Saturday. We picked up 11 dogs yesterday, so we're full. Again, we're at about 34 dogs, so come and give us a hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, I think we'll go to resolutions, come back to the proclamation.
Resolutions number 1, investments.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Appropriations.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Transfers.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Advances and repayments.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Requisitions.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Travel.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Bills.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorraine County Commissioners.
That would be County Administrator Jim Cordez back into a different time zone. Good morning.
I'm afraid that this is an avatar, and I'm still back there.
You're still there, West Coast time.
Little foggy. You know, I'm just fooling you all. I'm still in California and sitting on out in a nice vineyard. But we all have to come back to reality, I suppose.
We missed you. We missed you.
Oh yeah, I believe that one.
How long were you gone?
You were
I
gone?
was for 2 working days. I didn't
know you were gone.
Holiday. Everybody acts like I'm gone for like a week or 2. It's like, I know it seems that way. I do have a number of personnel issues this morning, specifically potential hires at Job and Family Services, the Collection Center. I'm just about finished with that purchase of real estate, and also have one pending legal matter. And I believe believe that will be it for this morning. I'll look at my folder again, I may revise under my report. But all those topics are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussions. So I'd ask at the conclusion of our regular board, we go into executive session and discuss those matters that I've explained. Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of October 9th.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorize necessary tax levies and certify the county auditor.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda. Aye. Award contract to RAM Construction Services, Broadview Heights, Ohio, in the amount of $3,185,160.75 for the county parking garage restoration and repairs project. 7 bids were received, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications. Issue notice to proceed effective on or before March 1st, 2020, and complete said contract on or before June 30th. Authorize administrator to notify the auditor to release retainage and completion of project.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
Anything you'd like to add on that?
I suppose we really, it's a big expenditure, we should
Right.
dialogue a little bit about it. And when we looked at this back in June, we were going to try to accelerate and get it done before another winter came. We've had the top portion of the parking deck closed for safety reasons. In fact, I need to look in the next coming weeks to make sure that we don't need any additional shoring in the back. That was one of the things we were going to take a look at to get through the winter. I was concerned specifically at the back end of the garage, towards where the wall is by the journal and the underpass there. There's been considerable erosion through the concrete. I've been assured that the facility is not in any danger of imminent collapse, but it's unsafe to have some plates over some of the areas that are damaged. We decided that the accelerating into the fall with the timing of moving everybody, and then the possibility of finding additional damage, and then not being able to get it done in time before the winter set in, and then having to wait and trying to work through the winter with the added additional cost it could be for those conditions was unacceptable. And I have to really think that reasoning is very sound, because it may have been that the damage was more extensive than we could have even finished in the wintertime, and then had to wait to the spring all over again, and our employees would be dislocated out of the parking garage. Mm-hmm. We're talking about, right now, we've already dislocated 100 parking spots, and we're talking about another 325 spots that we need to figure out, and they're not going to be figured out very reasonably in the downtown area. So we felt it was better to begin early in the spring, give ourselves that additional amount of safety cushion so we can get people transported back and forth better in a more reasonable time frame, and cost to us, because we need to deal with that. And also, if those unforeseen conditions delay us, we have months to deal with that. So that's why we're going to start in the spring. The cost is the same. We're not going to do it while using the garage. I believe that's the last time the repairs were made. They moved scaffolding, they moved shoring. People were trying to drive around, and I'm not sure that we got the repairs that were done in a manner that I believe was the best way of doing it. Because of that, it was like spot repairing everything. I really think they need to go in there and have the deck empty and be able to work on it in that manner, and we can get a better inspection, a better product.
Weren't we paying extra for the acceleration?
Excuse me?
We weren't paying extra for the acceleration?
Well, we're still accelerating here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So they're going to be working 2 shifts.
Okay.
And they're not going to be putting the scaffolding in. They put the scaffolding, they'll take a longer period of time to do the repairs. The repairs should be done in 3 or 4 months with 2 shifts working. And we need that time, because you figure out we start at the end of March. We got April, May, June, July, and that gives us, August and September, thereabouts, if we have unforeseen conditions or additional work that's needed in that garage. Hopefully this gets another 6 to 8 years from the garage. People are going to go, well, that's a lot of money for 6 to 8 years. New garage is $30 million, $25 million. I'm no expert in doing math, but this is a 425 car garage. Each spot right now is running about 25,000 on a garage. So it's pretty easy when you figure out that you got to demo one. You got to dislocate everybody from the demo for a year and a half, 2 years. Then you got to build a new garage,
Pay for parking somewhere else.
pay for parking somewhere else. This is not an easy demo. We would have to dislocate all of the Chronicle Telegrams parking because the wall's right on their property line there. All the parking, I'm not even counting the parking in the alley, that would have to be all dislocated. Off the side parking there's probably another 80 spots back there at least. So now you're talking that's 500 and something from us. It's probably 60 or 70 and over in the Chronicle that we'd have to figure out for them. That has to be very convenient for them. So the cost runs up very, very quickly. And of course, I'm giving a high number because if you're going to build the deck is inadequately sized right now. It was sized for 1972. As I told you, I wouldn't build anything less than 650 spots right now. And that would be expanding it out to the alley footprint and maybe adding an additional level to it. So that's where the additional cost would come in. You can't build it for a need for what was 1972. You're going to rebuild it to 425, that's 1972. So it's going to be considerable. Whenever the board has to make that decision, and that decision will have to be made eventually, it's going to be a very, very costly proposition. And there's not a lot of land in the downtown area for that kind of surface parking. But this will get you some years. And with some continued maintenance, the possibility of another 8 to 12 years, 13 years is not impossible with the garage, but we have to be dedicated to that ongoing cycle of maintenance. These things are costly. When they age, they become very expensive to take care of.
What about a cover for the upper floor to
We're
try to
beyond
preserve
We're
it?
beyond that being a practical solution. The membrane's gonna go down on top over the concrete. I wouldn't invest in that.
No.
And with the wind shears the way they are and the way it would have to be built, you're in the millions to do that on an old facility. If the facility was 10 years old and you were considering that to get more life out of it, that may be something that would be worth looking at. At this age, I would never ask you to invest. If you look at the canopies down at the transportation center, if you see how they're built with it's a tremendous amount of steel hanging because you have to build for that amount of wind shear and stability, and the deck wasn't really built to take that. So structurally, they can engineer anything if you're willing to pay for it.
Right.
So it's a retrofit, which makes it even that much more costly. And you're still not going to get that much more time out of that concrete out there. And that deck was an old build. It was a precast stressed concrete build back when that was a fairly new technique too. So there's some issues with that. But you figure it out. How many years now? Was it 41 years, 42 years with the deck? So a few more years, and you see them all over Cleveland. They've torn them down and they've rebuilt them. There's still a few old structures that are pretty dated down there, and by far and large, this one's living on Pappy years, well past where it probably should have been. The membrane, like I said, on the top on the deck will get you some, but it needs to be maintained. The worst thing for these decks is the salt that comes in on the vehicles throughout the winter months, and for too many decades, this deck wasn't flushed out and cleaned out enough to stop that erosion into the concrete, especially where on a precast where the seams meet and there's rubber membranes in there. Just like people wonder what those things coming out of the road are. Usually there's a rubber strip between them, and the erosion gets in there and it seeps into the concrete, and from the heaving and the expanding and the wetness getting in there, and then the salt gets in there, it just deteriorates and spalls out and makes mush out of your concrete. That's where we've had the biggest problems. So try to stay on top of the maintenance once the repairs are made, but that's not going to be a forever thing.
Well, and I think, maintenance is one of those necessary evils. We can't when you have to evaluate the cost of doing an effective repair versus the cost of a new structure, it pretty much dictates a path unless we have the ability to plan and secure financing down the road. But we don't have an option on a repair like this.
Right.
One accident, a chunk of concrete on somebody's car,
Already
on
happened to
somebody's
mine.
head, just doesn't leave any room for discussion, unfortunately.
And unfortunately, we went through some tough times and deferred all of our capital projects because we didn't have the money. So things kind of deteriorated because we didn't have the funding to do a project like this, so.
Well, even if you could bring the project in for $20 million, you know, it's, and I said 30, but that's really at the very, very top, and that would be a structure that would take you for 50 years. Right now, that's not really the practical answer at this point. So continuation with this would be the practical answer, and then looking at it, because you can see that 600 parking spots, we talked about the numbers already. 600 would be the minimum that you would need to build to. And that still doesn't solve your complete problem. Remember, we still, even when the deck was fully occupied, we still had a parking problem just for the employees in downtown.
Right.
And that didn't account for the increased public traffic we're getting utilizing the facilities of county government in downtown.
Right.
So that still would, even 600 would only be a temporary relief of those pressures.
And it's important to point out our garage also houses county vehicles. We try to keep those under roof. So,
We do it,
Right.
A, for security reasons,
Right.
and B, to get some continued life out of those as much as possible, too.
Right.
There's probably 80, 85, well, now, not that we have that many, but
Right.
for the various agencies that all have vehicles, they're all in that garage, too. There's probably 80 to 100 county vehicles in that garage.
Plus that added challenge of that below-grade entry ramp.
Well, the building
that
was,
poses.
if you come out the back of the building, it was dipped
Yeah.
in the back because they tried to get a half, subterranean piece of the garage there. It's really weird. So if the garage was actually taken out and wasn't replaced, you'd have to redo the back of this building.
All the entrances.
And all the entrances and accesses in the back of this building, because they put on that whole back end of the building to fit with that garage back there. I never did quite understand the build on this building, the way they did it, but it looked like an afterthought to me. I don't know how that came about.
well, this will also require a lot of patience and understanding of the county employees. And, I guess other than working at maybe one of the hospitals, there aren't many places where you're able to park under in a parking garage in the area. So it's something nice to be able to have as part of your employment. But at the same time, we've got to get this work done, and we don't want to be working around the vehicles. So it's better just to get everybody out, get the work done as quickly as possible, find out where all the problem spots are, and get everybody back in. But it is going to, I'm sure, test some people's patience. But it's a minor inconvenience, and I hate spending money on something like this, but the reality is we've got to do it, and government gets accused of spending money, but I think this is certainly a test to the fact that we've stretched the dollars about as far as we could. And as my colleague pointed out, Lori said that during the tough economic times, the dollars just weren't there, and you just kind of patch things and let them go. But it's like with your house, you can patch it all you want, but eventually you got to pay the bill, and I guess the bills come due.
And for clarity, though, the inconvenience, we will be establishing park and transport locations. It's not that all of the employees are going to just be circling downtown Elyria looking for an empty spot. We will do an effective planning of alternative parking for everybody. So inconvenient, yes, but not something that every morning's going to be a hide and seek game.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Anything further? Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
I saw Paul walking. Do you want to do
Yes,
him or
we
you
can
want to
do
go?
Paul.
Sure. Paul, I see you just came in. Like to call up Paul Hassan. It's okay.
Name my friend
Who, Teresa?
Teresa. No, I'm kidding.
9:30 we start.
Wow.
She looked at me like, oh.
Yeah. Okay.
No, she's a wonderful person. She always very, very is the word expeditious?
Helpful.
Very helpful, yeah.
Anyway, what am I supposed to do now?
Well, welcome. We want to present you with certificate of recognition, but I guess we'd like to have you first say a few words about the Day of Atonement.
Am I supposed to give my name, address on the account?
Yep.
Sure, Paul.
Paul Hassan, 1323 West 9th Street, Lorain, Ohio, home of the Stillman. Even though I'm not originally from Lorain, Ohio, but I've been here for a long time, so I guess I'm home of the Stillman.
You're from the Massillon area,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, my wife
Yeah.
is a proud Tiger.
So am I.
Yep.
Not a cougar.
In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, we thank him for his intervention in our affairs, and we thank him for the gift and the proper life and living for the human family. Again, I want to thank the commissioners for their honoring us with this resolution, which they do every year. We really appreciate all the commissioners for this resolution. Real quick, the Day of Atonement is a day that we ask those. It came from the Million Man March 24 years ago, which African American men went to D.C. To present to the world that the image that was projected of black men at that time was real bad, and we wanted to show the world that we wanted to show the world we'd be better fathers, better husbands, better brothers, better uncles, and it became called the Day of Atonement, in which atonement is really a process. You know, it's just not you go and and one day you talk about your atonement, but it's a process that many of us. So anyway, the Atonement Day is become a bigger adventure. It's just not just black men. It's the human family. It's men. All men in this country. I was listening to the debate last night. They were saying that something about the issues of women. I think Booker was talking about it. There was a rally in Alabama, and he said there was almost 5 men to every woman, and that draconian bill they passed in Alabama. So it's very important that we need to respect and protect our women. So that's what Atonement Day is one of the bigger things we want to again let the community know, just not just Lorain, but Elyria know in terms of the importance of the Day of Atonement. This year, we're celebrating the life of Toni Morrison. Many of you know the contribution of Toni Morrison. I think she was a Nobel Prize, but she's one of the awards. I don't know which one she received, but we'll be honoring her life. Also, this is the 400th year of the anniversary of enslavement of African people in America. It's been 400 years since, from our ancestors, that we've been enslaved here in America, and we want to recognize that. Why? Because we need a healing for humanity. We'll be talking about the border crisis. We'll be talking about violence, education, crisis, the racism and extremism. And one thing before I conclude, that we need a healing for humanity. My granddaughter goes to a school in Brunswick. And, Brunswick is more European Americans than African Americans. My granddaughter's, a little light-skinned, And my daughter told me when she picked me up in the airport the other day, she said they asked my granddaughter, why are you light and your mother dark? This is what some of the students, a healing for humanity. They don't understand that the parents, in terms of in the homes, are not teaching our children. So my daughter is light-skinned, my granddaughter's light-skinned, and my daughter is dark-skinned. So the father is light-skinned, so my daughter came out light. But that ain't got nothing to do with who she is, because it's only an organ. Skin color it's just an organ. It's like your eyes, it's like your nose. And so we're caught up in skin, we're caught up in the illusions of differences. And my granddaughter got to go to school and ask her, well, Why you this color and your mother this color? A healing for humanity. Last, my other granddaughter, she goes to school. She's 4 or 5 years. She rides the bus. She rides the bus, and they're bullying her, taking her crayons, messing with her hair. A healing for humanity. And the problem is, as we as adults, we as the so-called elders are not doing the kind of things that we need to do in terms of the kind of president we have that's really, exacerbating and making things worse. So this is why we're saying we need a healing for humanity. This is why we're saying we want to know that, yes, this is the 400 years of anniversary of enslavement in America. It's not to say that anybody's fault, but if we are talking about a healing, we need to talk about many, many things that we can come together, and be one family, one family, one nation under God, as we say. But if we have these kind of things, and our children is supposed to get better, and they're asking my granddaughter, why you light and your mother dark? Something's fundamentally wrong. So this is why, we're doing this here, and we must do it, and we call it, to join us for a healing, because we certainly need a healing for humanity, a healing for our communities, a healing for our individual families, and a healing, for this whole society, because if we don't, we're heading for, a catastrophe, because we can continue to look at each other as far as color, as far as our nationalities, but not as one human family. We want to thank commissioners greatly for for honoring us with this resolution and honoring me with these few words. I thank you again, and may God be with you, and God bless all of it. God bless America.
We have a proclamation we'd like to present to you. The Lorraine County Board of Commissioners recognizing the Lorraine County Organizing Committee for the Day of Atonement, as you pointed out, celebrating the 24th anniversary of the historic Million Man March and the Holy Day of Atonement, the 400th anniversary of the arrival of enslaved Africans, and also in recognition of the life and legacy of Toni Morrison, encouraging the community to take part on October 19th at First Evangelical Lutheran Church in Lorraine. What time will that be?
1 o'clock. And note that it's going to be held at a Lutheran church. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim imam. Pastor Rosie is a Christian pastor. Mark Jeffries from the Jewish community. We're all coming together. We're not going to let that stuff divide us. So that's what's even more important than that we all coming together as faith communities coming together and recognizing this day.
And as part of our resolution, we're stating we need to come together to make the community a better place, especially at this time of rising intolerance, hate, and violence, and the opioid crisis in our communities. We all need to work for justice and nonviolent social change, and it's signed by all three of the commissioners. We'd like to come down and present this to you.
Okay. You know what? Forgot my phone. I want to get a picture. Rushing and couldn't find a parking space.
Well, we'll send you.
The parking space.
You talking about parking, right?
Yeah.
Talk about parking. I can't. No, I have a way to send a picture. Let's get a picture.
We'll send it to you.
All right, boy, girl, turn it around. There.
No.
Nice to see you all. Thank you. Congratulations. You smell good, too.
Oh.
We'll see you Saturday.
Okay.
Right.
Return to, let's see, item number 12.
Receive and journalize Brown lateral petition from Pittsfield Township trustees through Stormwater District to clean from Quarry Road to railroad tracks to the east. Viewing will be held November 12th at 11 a.m. Hearing will be November 19th at 10:30. Notice to residents October 22nd. Publication October 29th and November 5th.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
I did you get my email, Dawn, about his conflict for the viewing?
Changed it to 11 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Authorize administrator to apply to the state for establishment of Lorraine County Building Department.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
I'd just like to, state that this is just basically so that we're making our application to the state for the establishment of the Lorraine County Building Department. I know we've had numerous public hearings, giving everybody the opportunity to provide feedback and learn about what the plans and the details are. I know my colleagues have been doing a lot of research, and we've been tasking department heads with drilling down and getting more information. From my point of view, I've always been a big advocate for consumers, whether it was as a reporter or as a state legislator in Columbus, and continue to advocate for consumers here at home. I see this as a consumer issue. It protects consumers, protects home buyers, protects the biggest investment that consumers probably will make. At the same time, the most important responsibility that we have as elected officials is the safety of the community, and I certainly see this as a safety issue, hoping that when families go to bed at night, their homes are safe and no one dies in the middle of the night because of some faulty electrical work that was done and dies in a fire. So for me, it's a consumer protection issue. It's also a safety issue, and I'm pleased that we're moving forward with making application at this time.
I'd just like to add, I've done some extra exploration into this, and because of some of the, we haven't had that many, but we've had some concerns raised. We've had a lot of support and requests for us to organize this building department or to establish it. But a few of the things that I've been able to uncover with the help of Don Romansek is that, first of all, repair work is narrowly omitted from the requirements of the building department by the state statute. And all of this has parameters around it, but repair work is one of the exemptions. Sheds are exempt, as well as certain size square footage of decks are also exempt. So there are some small project items that folks were concerned about that I'm pleased to say are going to be exempt items. It'll come out in the code.
Can I add one more? Roofing, if you don't take it all the way down to the original roof, right? Like a re-roof is
Right.
not considered.
There are going to be a handful of exemptions that, for those who are concerned about how it affects them as a homeowner, it should be minimally invasive, if invasive at all. Most of that's self-reporting as well. So that is another element of the code, as well as the fact that we will be enlisting a advisory group to make sure that this is established in conjunction with the state code and a way that is amenable to our county. So
Yeah, this is really the first step in putting the building department together. So this has to be done first, and then we'll ask for additional input from some of the townships. And it's a user type of fee. If you're a township that's not really growing and don't have a lot of you're not gonna see the building department. It's for those townships that are building, they have development going on. So I think Mr. Lundy came up with about, 30,000 people in the townships that are interested in having a building department established. So that's, more than half of the residents in the township. So
it weights it very
yeah, I
heavily.
think the majority of the people are in favor of the township, or in favor of a building department. So we have to look out for those people in those areas that are growing and make sure that the homes that they're moving into or the work being done in those homes are safe.
And that's not to say we aren't listening to everyone.
Correct.
We just have to respond to the greatest need.
It's demand driven, so a lot of those townships that were saying we were not in favor of it probably won't see a lot of the building department. Like
Right.
Commissioner Sueda said, it's self-reporting.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Under Job and Family, approve change order number 1 in the amount not to exceed $81,052 to Williams Brothers Builders, Inc. for unforeseen conditions and additional work at the Job and Family's exterior building improvements.
So move.
Yeah,
Okay, discussion now.
I'll second your motion if you'd like to.
They were just all over each other today.
we're
I'll-
rushing to
I'll
move on
second
that
her
one.
motion.
Okay. Jim wants discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's a large change order, so I just want to speak to it. The bulk of this is additional work.
the windows.
Well, it's not just the windows. You know, a lot of the work that's been done on the building to date, and it's been extensive work. I want to explain some of it since we have a little bit of opportunity. It's a slow morning.
For you, maybe.
Remember, it's an avatar. When that building was renovated in the 90s, it really was not renovated in my mind, and I was here, in a manner that it should have been. They brought windows right down to the slab at that building. That building leaked from day one. There was no drain tile placed around the footers. You know, I've always been an advocate of drain tile, even on slab homes, especially on flat roof buildings where you're directing water off. Plus that, one only needed to look at that building and see it was sitting in a low spot with the land behind it. There was always a tremendous amount of water coming off. The back of the building leaked, excessive leak. Many times we were back there rebuilding storm drains. But then the front of the building, they put the windows in and they put, I want to call them planters, but they weren't planters. They're just curbs and areas with dirt in them in front of the windows, and they would fill up with water, and then the water would run up through the weep holes in the windows and onto the floor and the carpeting in the building. This began immediately when the building opened. So the answer was that they caulked up the weep holes and caulked the bottom of the windows. So in essence, they created a fish tank out of what was designed, you know, hey, the window's leaking, look, it's got a hole in it. Well, those are weep holes,
Yeah,
they're supposed to be
to.
there. So the moisture built up into the windows and the walls, and that went on for a long period of time, and it only got worse, and then the water started leaking into the walls, and so, you know, we tried to get a number of years out of this dismal design of this renovation. So this time we had an opportunity when the bonds matured and the state said that we could go ahead and do a second major renovation. And of course, this is all going to be put into the rent payments from the state, so this will all be paid for through cost back through the state allocation. We went back and corrected all that. When we did the parking lot, we laid drain footers all around the building to drain off any excess water. But a step further was to take the windows out, bring them up. We used cladding in the front there. Not only is that at a level of privacy when you're working inside, but it also ended any potential of that water infiltrating. And, you know, we shielded all that and we watertighted all that into the front of the building. And also the design and colors of the building were never really very popular. So we brought that more into harmony with the area out there. When they went, the funny part is when they did this, somehow they didn't decide to paint the back of the building and part of the crowning over the roof. So we're going to end up with this mishmash of things, and we needed to correct that. Like the big ball that was an issue in the 90s, I think, Matt, you made a big issue of that in the 90s when you were campaigning for commissioner the first time. They weren't painting that. We changed the color of the building, and we're going to leave this huge ball teal, and the rest of the building is going to be gray and so forth. And so a few of those things we need to do some change orders on, as well as some cladding on the roof panels and that little piece in the front over the WDA area, workforce development area. And then there's probably going to be another change order because the signage out there has been terrible for years. It's really bad signage out there. And so I want to upgrade the signage out there. And I need to figure it out because they didn't leave a lot on the roadway. So I want to get out there and just sit for a while and try to figure out some way of putting in some better signage because people that haven't visited there or don't know what's out there, especially people visiting all the various offices that are workforce development.
because
There's
there's
like 12
3 things out
different
there.
agencies in
Yeah,
there. It's just it's bad.
Almost need a marquee.
Pretty much some kind of monument sign, something. It's terrible. So we need to figure that out and get that corrected. The clock is being repaired also. It hasn't worked, I think, since the second day we opened the building. So, we got a couple new people up there on the bicycle pedals, and they're gonna crank the clock around. But that's being fixed too. So, it's a large change order, but it's additional work. Trying to get it right at this time, I think the employees are a lot happier. The work area inside is a lot more functional to them. I think you heard Barb when she was over here. We had a little brief conversation on that. It's really the better the work environment and the employees feel better in there, the more productivity that's produced. So I just want $81,000 is something we should explain. So we should be done soon.
Good.
We have to be done soon. The weather's coming.
I was going to say, yeah.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Just getting ready for next year.
Whatever. Solid waste. Renew the HHW Collection Center insurance with Colonial Insurance Company in the amount of $10,558 effective October 27, 2019 through October 26, 2020.
Do you need any more practice?
No, I'm good.
I so move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Engineer, Amendment Resolution 19172 adopted March 20th, 2019, authorizing the 5-year lease purchase with Harrison Ford Wellington and Kansas State Bank in the amount of $190,947.10 for 6 pickup trucks. The amendment is to authorize the payment of $21,666.34 for the down payment.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Health Department approved change order number 2 in the amount not to exceed $3,750 to Electrical Corporation of America for additional work at the Lorraine County Public Health Building.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Prosecutor authorized acceptance of VOCA in the amount of $244,793.21 with a 20% cash match of $61,198.30. An SVAA grant in the amount of $7,195.50 with no cash match for the Victim Witness Program. This is effective October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020, and the grant will pay for salary and payroll expenses for 3 full-time victim advocates, 1 partial salary for an advocate.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Amendment Resolution 19652 adopted October 9, 2019, authorizing a settlement claim. Amendment should reflect the payment should be $7,750, not $7,500.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, approve and enter a new commissary contract with Keefe Commissary Network, effective for 3 years commencing February 17, 2020, and options for 2 one-year renewals.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Public comment.
Anyone wishing to address the board this morning? Okay. Seeing.
Did they want to talk about that?
Mr. Cortez.
So seeing none.
That was pretty quick. I wanted to add, even though I was here when they did the building first time, it wasn't my project. So
So you're not taking the blame?
I'll take the blame for the things I do. I'm not
I'm teasing.
perfect, but that wasn't, and I wasn't the one that decided to caulk up the windows and weep holes and stuff like that either. So
The fish tank.
when the water was coming in the back, they decided just to seal up the door and put waterproof painting on the block and let the water run past too. That wasn't too brilliant either. I just want to remind people that the crime levy is on, issue 19. We need support out there. This is the behind-the-scenes support. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It's not often that you'll see it. Probably even less often that you'll know anybody that utilizes it. But it's a backbone support. And it's those backbone supports that are necessary so you see the things that are going on. Please come out and vote for issue 19. We need your help. Thank you very much. I yield.
Mr. Ennis.
I have no report this morning.
Goody.
Nope.
Yeah,
Commissioners,
well, it was a short week because of Columbus Day, but I want to remind everybody that the burger battle is still going on until Sunday, so make sure you visit Lorraine County, go to visit Lorraine County to see what restaurants are participating. Vote for your favorite establishment, your favorite burger, and you'll get dinner for $4 at the winning restaurant. Last Wednesday, we all attended Mayor Zilka's fundraiser at the American Legion in Avon Lake for burgers and hot dogs. It was really nice, great desserts, nice people. Always nice to be in Avon Lake. And then yesterday, we had our first hearing on the erosion and settlement control regulations and the post-construction rules for the comprehensive stormwater management. And then I spent the weekend with my grandchildren. I got to play grandma this weekend, so stayed home and did stuff.
Good
End of
grandma
my
stuff.
report. Grandma stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to send out congratulations to Mayor Zilka for a nice event there in Avon Lake. Also saw he picked up the endorsement of the Chronicle Telegram there on Sunday, so congratulations to him. Really enjoy working with him, and he also serves as my alternate to the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency and does a great job. Also had the opportunity to serve on council with him back in the 90s, and I can tell you he's always very fair, very objective, always looks at both sides of the story, and just a fair and reasonable person to have in a mayoral position. The Urban League hosted its Hometown Heroes, its gala on Friday night at the Emerald Event Center over in Avon. It was a very nice event. Congratulations to many of the recipients. Sylvia Duval, Javon Terrence, Pastor Jeffries, and also Kenneth Glenn from Lorraine County Community College. Just a really nice event, a nice location, and Mayor Jensen had some really great opening words there, too, about respecting each other and everybody working together, and it was always good to see Mayor Jensen from Avon. The Bowls by the Lake event, if you've not had a chance to attend that event, you definitely have to make sure that you make it each year. They actually bring in a bunch of restaurants that bring in a number of assorted soups, and then they have various specialty bowls that are made. And then when you're done sampling the soups, you get a chance to take and pick out a bowl of your own to take home. Quite creative bowls, nothing traditional. Everything's very kind of artsy. But they've been able to donate through the last event, I think it was like $17,000 that went to Second Harvest, Lorraine County Community College Commodore Cupboard operation, and then also the Community Resource Services in Avon Lake. But a really, really nice event. The hall was packed there at the American Legion in Avon Lake, and had a chance to sample some lobster bisque from the Strip restaurant in Avon. And I got to tell you, that lobster bisque was amazing. And then they were running low on clam chowder, New England clam chowder. I was just finishing up my lobster bisque, and the college was nice enough to bring me over just a sample of the New England clam chowder. They said, we know you like clam chowder, and wanted to make sure you got it before it ran out. So, and the chef was there, so the students always do an amazing job from the community college, but it was just a great event. Congratulations to Grafton Midview Library, their 75th anniversary. Was not able to make it down there that day, but just a really cool library. Had the opportunity to hold a lot of town hall meetings down there when I was a state rep, and just nice staff, very professional staff. And we also had our Lakefront Connectivity meeting group the other day with our lakefront communities, talking about things we can do to promote the lakefront. I see that Avon Lake recently unveiled their land use plan, and the thing that they heard over and over again through community support and feedback was access to the lake. And we're just blessed to have a lakefront county here, and we'll continue to look for ways to maximize access to it and generate economic activity.
Thursday evening, I was able to attend the evening with the judges at Lakeview. It was just a beautiful night. Perfect sunset, perfect temperatures, probably something we're not going to see for a little while. And it was very well attended by local judges and supporters. Friday was a special event for me. It was in my hometown and alma mater of Amherst. We had a reunion of the very first Amherst Comet football team that ever won a conference championship. When I look back, I don't remember knowing that we had never, they were called the Comet Puffs. And so what happened was in 1968, a new coach came to the area, Coach Wally Armour. They almost ran him out of town because they came in last in 68. So then
Is that with Armor Hot Dog Heaven?
that is.
Okay.
That is. And so in 69, he just completely turned it around. He and his other coaches, we recognized Wally Armour that last Friday, Coach Gene Mayer, Coach Paul Cernas, and Dan Joheim, along with team members who played on the team and fellow cheerleaders. It was just a nice evening, and they did win the championship in '69. It was fun that year, and there's a shout out to Jim Kabuski, who organized it, as well as to Paul Slyman, who offered Slyman Dodge showroom for a gathering after the game. They did some tailgating before, but it was fun to reconnect with fellow champion
Nice.
schoolmates.
Nice.
So on Saturday morning, we did the tree planting for Keep Lorraine County Beautiful, our team, as well as solid waste and a lot of our county departments. I see some folks in the audience here who really helped much more than I did. It was for the Margaret Peak Preserve. And is it okay if I let Don just give a word about it real quick? Don, why don't you give us a recap, because it was, first of all, it went really well, really fast. Before the allotted time, we had 400 trees planted. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. And by the way, you did plant more trees than I did that day. So. We had over 30 volunteers show up, including some representatives from the Boy Scout Troop 152 that were out there with their fathers. They were also busy planting. We actually had thought that this would go on till about 2 p.m. With our volunteers, they basically got right to work before the event even officially started at 9 a.m. And by about 10:30 or so, 400 trees were planted. We thought that would take till 2. They were actually done planting before I could light the charcoal to be able to get the hot dogs going. We were joined there by Eaton Township, who provided a lot of help, Huntington Township. The county had a great turnout with solid waste, community development, stormwater, the Board of Commissioners, of course, along with we had members of our Stormwater Advisory Committee there. We had members from Margaret Peak Preserve, Keep America Beautiful Council, and then just individuals from the community that came out. Loco Yaks were there, our Black River AOC, the Ohio Lake Erie Commission was there. So it was quite an effort. It was amazing how quickly it got done with everyone working together. We had a nice little ceremony where people got to hear a little bit about the history of what was going on and all of the teamwork that it took, including U.S. Fish and Wildlife, who wasn't there that day, really saved us. They drilled 400 holes so that all we had to do was pull the trees off or out of their pot, put it in, and backfill. And that, otherwise, that would have been backbreaking work.
We'd still be there.
And then after everyone was done, Lynn, the Black River crew, myself, Jessica actually had helped as well as Huntington Township. We watered all 400 trees so that by the time we left at 3:30, we were all cleaned up. The trees were watered. Now we have the rain. But it came out just absolutely wonderful, and we were able to present some ceremonial shovels. Including one for the Board of Commissioners, but also for those that really helped Ohio Lake Erie Commission to represent our state and federal partners, Eaton Township, who provided labor and land and a lot of cooperation. And by the way, they'll be the ones maintaining this on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
We're there just as the last stage backup. And the Margaret Peak Preserve Park Board as well, which has also been a great partner in working with us in promoting it. It is one of the best birding spots in Lorraine County, and with this new addition, we expect it to get much more improved and better. So I want to thank everyone that participated. It was outstanding. It was a joy. It was brisk, but the rain quit at 5 a.m., so it wasn't even that muddy. And again, thank you, Commissioner, for your work as well.
Well, thanks for all that you did to make that day happen.
Like planning a
It
wedding, isn't it?
It
Getting
is.
it all together.
Well, and it was very cold until we started, and then once you're shoveling, you get
get
warm
warm. Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
And then it was breezy and cold when we had our hot dogs.
Yes.
But it was great, thank you.
Again, thank you.
Yep. So then Saturday, that meant I missed the Bowls by the Lake. So Sunday, there were pancakes at the Amherst Fire Department and OVI in Sheffield Lake, as well as a shout out to Ray Carrion. He's the council-elect for the South Lorraine ward. He has been orchestrating and creating community events, community cleanups. I was able to attend their burgers and brats for a community get-together at St. Lad's on Sunday afternoon, and just want to see him keep up the good work over there. He's revitalizing and instilling a spirit of can-do-itness.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to show and catch on with the residents over on the south side, as well as I think it's getting attention from some of the other districts in Lorraine as well. He's
a little
putting the
copy off of
pressure on.
him.
Yes. Tuesday, we did have the first hearing of the erosion and sediment, as well as our lakefront connectivity. Don't forget our 911 open house is going to be
26th, I
October
think?
26th.
26. Put that on your calendar. The burger battle does continue, but also don't forget October is Cupcake Crawl Month. And you can go to visitloraincounty.com, find the sites for the cupcake crawl. Somebody did write in and say they visited all the cupcake stops in one day. You do not have to. You can do that through the month. Not that that doesn't sound great, but you do not have to. And then a reminder that this evening is the CHIPS candidate debate. They conduct an annual debate for candidates, and that'll be hosted this evening by CHIPS. Thank you.
Is that at the high school?
Yes, usually it's at Lorraine High. I'm going out on a limb. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure
I
that's
think in the auditorium.
in the auditorium. Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next Tuesday, the 22nd at 9:30, we're going to have a meeting for, hopefully, the engineer to submit the final reports on the Grafton Road outfall and Mapleview Ditch. And then at 11 a.m. will be our investment advisory meeting.
Okay. There's also a graduation, recovery court graduation that day at 10. Okay.
Sorry. Board correspondence.
I would move that the reading be waived.
And second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Sueda?
Aye.
I see no other business at this time. I would move that we go into executive session for the reasons stated by the county administrator.
I'll second.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Sueda?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorraine County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.